civil war. What a shame that it descended into this. Graven Ashe will want to meet and discuss the next steps. Best that you regroup in Iron Hearth. Gather your strength and regroup, but don't leave the Archon waiting. Send Ashe my regards. The General has done much for me, and I wish he was here to see this. Very well. I will join the Archon at Iron Hearth after I speak with Tunon. That would be best. She shakes her head and looks out on the spire with fresh bewilderment. It's not enough that we're fighting 2 wars. Now we have this to puzzle through. I don't envy your position. See you at Iron Hearth. And dizzying energy from the spire falters. Whatever force woke the powers that reside here gutters and fades, though a faint hum persists in the sculpture at the center. That's odd. There was a portal here a moment ago, but it seems to have vanished. Well, let's look around for a solution. The humming from the curious sculpture pulses and builds in volume, as if to draw your attention.
Will do.
The teleporter has shut off, and we need to fix it. On closer inspection, a series of symbols carved around the base of the structure come into view. One symbol pulses with a blue-white glow. The pattern resembles the glowing lines of light seen on the floor of Ascension Hall moments before you found yourself transported above the clouds. As you stare at the symbol, the chill of the wind abates and your chest swells with warmth. The air finally feels welcoming, your lungs sated at last. I'd be careful going any closer. This whole tower is humming with energies that we don't understand. Lantry holds his quill poised above a sheet of parchment with anticipation. Now, I didn't say back away. Let's find out what it does. Just be cautious. I can feel power running through this place. Ebb surveys the surroundings, her gaze sweeping to the object at the center. You can sense the magic of the spire even from down below, but up here, this close to the axis of the spire, the deluge of energy is numbing. I feel dizzy. Do you feel dizzy? Barrick massages the brow of his helmet, causing a howl of grinding iron to echo across the expanse. Okay, we're not gonna touch it. That would strike me as being incredibly stupid. But what is this thing? The surface of the stone edifice trembles at your words. In a brief moment, the solid rock undulates, the same motion as a quiet pond rippled by rain. An echo bounces back from afar, your voice distorted and unfamiliar. Is this thing? Your voice, for a moment there, it sounded like song. The sculpture is once again still. There is a rush warmth through your body, a jolt of enervation that steadies your balance. A barrage of tactile sensation floods your mind as you feel footsteps and wind, not on your face or your limbs. A moment later, the flood of information begins to make sense. You are feeling the wind against the spire, and even the weight of your own feet, as if the spire were a second spine. With this connection made, you feel your awareness pull from this place, not as a traveler, but as one glimpsing the world from impossibly far away. In this moment, there is nothing you cannot see, though you see it nearly all at once, in a flood of sensation that is difficult to parse. You see a spire at the crossing of an ancient stone structure, 2 walls extending off into the distance. At the base of this eternal spire, settlers and merchants act in every way unconcerning, cooling under the observation of the unforgiving taskmasters. As the shadow of the spire falls over them, the mood changes. The settlers pause in shared unease and look up at the sky toward you. Some of the faces looking at you are familiar, and you recognize this place as Lethian's Crossing, where you served during the war. Near the settlement, and built at the joining of the ancient walls, you see a breach in the massive masonry, a cleft into the forbidden hidden realm within the old walls. We will drift into the old walls entrance. Shadows envelop you, muting all sound and vision with a slight delay. There is a feeling of perversion, of wrongness. Whatever arcane power is allowing your senses to drift free of your body seems to falter in this place. Figures haunt the stone halls, drifting emanations of cloud, claw, and fang. They pay you no heed, but you fear them all the same. In the depths of this forbidden place, the deepest chamber is bathed in light. An arcane symbol illuminates the floor, though the details hurt your eyes when you focus. The gentle tug, your focus pulls back to a new horizon, though it takes you a moment to recognize it as Vendrian's well. You return to the awareness of your immediate surroundings. The effect leaves you unsteady on your feet. The spire feels similar to the one you now occupy, though instead of radiating arcane life, it reeks of dust and crumbling stone. A branch withering once pulled from its tree reaches for you with a barely perceptible tug. The link between you and the spire recedes. The arcane bond is still present, and the mystical energies, for the moment, are quiet. Your body flooded with excitement and fatigue. It's unclear whether the mystic connection is strengthening you or siphoning. The tower offers nothing by way of answer, and you know that asking would only yield more silence and mystery. The deluge of sensation is over, but the position of the other spires still lingers in your mind. From your vantage point atop the mountain spire, you can easily spot the mysterious structures, each of them rising high above their distant surroundings. Huh, what on earth was that? Did you sense that? Lantry sighs, a long sigil in the air, squinting at you as he works his cantrip. The ripples are everywhere. When you move, the magic of this place stirs and churns. That portal over there, those burning braziers, they all grow more intense as you approach. I think it's responding to your presence. I hate to interrupt this wool gathering, but did you just resolve one of Kairos' edicts, which is at least as remarkable as its sending a spire? Am I the only one who thinks they might be related? Merrick plants his feet and crosses his arms. As the lawful holder of this spire, it is your duty to find out as much about it as possible. That includes understanding edicts, too. And understanding edicts as well. If you forget your responsibilities, I'll be only too happy to remind you. Be sure to see me after your audience with Tunon. We cannot let the Scarlet Chorus gain hold in the tears. Together we'll wipe them from the land. Come to me as soon as you can, Fatebinder. We have a lot of work to do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Investigate the spires. There's another objective we have, but I'm not in any particular hurry. Tunon's court in the bastard city is where we're to head. And that's what we're going to do next. Because we don't want to keep the Archon of Justice waiting. That would tend to strike me as a very bad idea. But the good thing with this, I have to say, is that now we are no longer in a position where everything is timed and we will die if we waste too much of it. But we will finally be meeting the Archon of Justice. And it should be a very interesting conversation.
At least in theory, I'm supposed to be observing history.
Oh good, I'm not having some BS sound problem. That's
All
nice.
This is the thrill of a lifetime. Rarely does one stand so close to monumental moments
With
in
that
the making.
panel of things that we were seeing before, I was worried that my sound wasn't recording properly, because I didn't hear it.
If given the choice between a multifaceted hive mind of treachery and a surly old soldier, General Grumps is the wiser choice. It's patently obvious which Archon is truly
I'm
loyal
glad
to
we
Kairos.
see the same way, Lantry. It's good that I didn't misjudge you. I'd hate to have to execute you for being a traitor.
So, I must ask, are you planning on taking sides in the Civil War? Or do you have other plans?
Well, for the moment, at least, we'll be a little cagey, I think. I am a servant of the Archon of Justice. That much has not changed.
Dutifully spoken. It is Tunon's duty to arbitrate matters between the Archons, so this rift between Ashe and Nehrat certainly falls under his jurisdiction. And here you are, thrust in the middle of the dispute. No doubt the mighty adjudicator will be relying heavily on you to get to the truth of the matter. Whatever you do next, consider that many eyes will be upon you, for you have both delivered and taken away the Overlord's edicts, and few will know how to make sense of the latter. You are an exception the Archons cannot afford to ignore. They will likely aim to control or destroy you.
Since we're talking now, I have a question, Lantry. Have you ever heard of edicts being broken before?
Most of Kairos' edicts were either worded to end in a manner of the Overlord's choosing, or the edicts have simply continued in perpetuity. That's not to say there haven't been stories of broken edicts.
Yeah, to put it lightly, I imagine that broken edicts are probably rarer than gold, or rarer than the comments on my videos. To use another joke that I made with someone recently.
The oldest is, I think, Golbraith and the Edict of Sorrows, and that tale dates back to around the year 110. Aside from you, the most recent was the Edict of Twisting Grasses.
Twisting Grasses, and Edict of Twisting Grasses and Edict of Sorrows. Kairos does like to come up with some interesting names for his edicts, I'm noticing.
In all these stories, Kairos' edict very clearly gives its victim a single way to escape, and someone manages it. What's never happened is the pure abatement of an edict, like using a spell of warding or cancellation.
So, his edicts apparently don't have an off switch. Something to keep in mind, because we don't want to end up being the subject of an edict. So, looking at Beric, among other people, it strikes me as being profoundly bad for your health. Noted, Lantry. Now let's get going. Fate Binder. See who we have here. Couple of fate binders and some fellows that want to complain, and I'm guessing that's Tunon up above.
You call yourselves officers of Kairos' army, but your conduct falls short of my expectations. The court finds your accounts of Vendrian's well lacking, rife with misdirection and fallacy, fouled with baseless
The shadows beneath Tunon's cloak darken and flare around him. Murmurs of unease erupt in the court. Well, Tunon is our superior, and we do work for him. So I think it would be the smarter choice to simply listen to what he has to say, rather than speak up right now, because he is obviously not done talking. And one does not simply interrupt the Archon of Justice. That one of the disfavored is speaking. Your Honor, I have relayed the events as I experienced them. Can well imagine why my version conflicts with his. She makes a dismissive gesture to the Scarlet Chorus representative. On my honor and that of the great general, I would sooner snap my sword than perjure myself before you, Archon. Oh, so you imply that falsehood comes easier to my lips than yours? You're a fool if you believe the Archon of Justice won't see through your lies because the disfavored think themselves better than an honest gang.
Silence. The contradictions in your statements will be examined, and falsities threshed from truths. If we find you have perjured yourselves, Blood and Mark will
The Archon turns and you feel his gaze upon you. Oh my, oh dear, what is he going to ask us to do?
Fatebinder, we will start with the matter of the Archons. Graven Ashe and the Voices of Nehrat have declared war upon each other. In addition to violating Kairos' peace, they have thrown the conquest of the Tears into disarray. By all accounts, these hostilities began shortly after your arrival. Tell us.
Well, one thing's for certain, we are not going to lie to Tunon. That is just asking for him to lop off our head, as far as I'm concerned. So we will simply be honest. The Archons could not come to an agreement on who should lead the siege, and they descended into accusations of treachery. It seemed a mutual spat. The disfavored were more deserving of the honor. Our tactics and training outmatched the Vendrian's guard at every turn. Well, you were still arguing with them, and it takes two to quarrel, after all. What balderdash! The disfavored couldn't tip over a straw hut if they had a week to strategize. Our howling mob was better equipped to overwhelm the Vendrian guard. Our recruits were ready to throw themselves at the enemy, if only Ashe and his legion would agree to a plan. Once again, number one, you are a bunch of brainless buffoons who seem to be following the Russian strategy of throw conscripts at your enemy, when some of your conscripts used to be your enemy, and then being surprised when they didn't follow you and instead defected. Not only are you doing that, but I refer to you my previous statement about quarreling.
The Fatebinder presents testimony. I warned you both against speaking out of turn. Something more than a mere disagreement unraveled this campaign, but I will return to that in time. Let us speak of Ascension Hall. The disfavored sing your praises across the realm, though the Scarlet Chorus appealed for charges of treason. Perhaps you can offer
Yes,
more enlightenment.
I think I can. I claim the Citadel with the aid of a small unit of disfavored.
An efficient solution, the type I would expect from a capable agent. Tell me though, with the edict looming overhead and death the price of failure, why not employ the numerical advantage of the Scarlet Chorus?
Quite frankly, this siege called for tactics and planning, not raw numbers. Throwing the Scarlet Chorus at the Vendrian Guard was not going to do anything but rack up a body count. For a long while, the Adjudicator hovers in silence, shadows trailing from below his robes.
I will consider this testimony at length. The court thanks you for it. Is there anything you wish to add?
No,
at this
my
time?
lord. I have told you all that I know.
Your testimony is accepted by the court. The statements of our guests raise questions in my mind. There is much about this campaign that has caused me to wonder. A shipment of iron weapons was short on arrival. Where coveted iron is concerned, I don't believe it to be a clerical error. One of my agents recovered this seal in Echo Call. It belongs to a merchant collective. Lethian's Crossing is teeming with their kind. If you would root out treachery, I would advise starting there. Petitioners, leave us. I would have a private audience with the Fatebinder. Ascend and join me. You will find the way.
Okay then. Let us go. Tunon wants a word in private, which in this case, in private means with me and my 3 companions, apparently. And we don't want to get on his bad side. Greetings, my lord.
This civil war, this feud, is an insult to Kairos' peace. It should not have taken the better part of a year to silence the last vestiges
Tunon
of the
regards you in
Oathbreakers.
thoughtful silence, and we will simply keep quiet and hear what he has to say for now.
Our allies squabble while our enemies regroup.
He's not happy
It falls
about
upon the court
that,
to measure
apparently.
the extent of the damage and to execute the
Oh well.
agents of disorder. I suspect that treachery, negligence, disunity, and greed have infected one or both of our esteemed allies. Until you are instructed otherwise, this matter is the court's primary focus. Graven Ashe and the Voices of Nehrat must be examined in close detail. You are charged with observing the Archons and presenting your case that one of them has wrought chaos and disorder upon the tiers.
I will make that my mission, then, Your Honor.
As always, you will be held accountable for what you do in the court's name. But you are free to conduct your investigation in the manner of your choosing. You must expect lies, misdirection, and manipulation. Suffer not such obstructions of justice. The disfavored seem the logical first step in your inquiry. The Legion holds you in some esteem, and Graven Ashe has shown deference to the court in times past. No doubt the disfavored will be rife with accusations and evidence against the Voices of Nehrat. Graven Ashe is a noble man, but never underestimate his capacity for deception. A wise general succeeds by knowing when to be unreadable to the enemy. You should, of course, speak with the Scarlet Chorus and gather their testimony, but it stands to reason that most in the chorus would sooner brag about a pauldron fashioned from your skull than entertain your questions. Do not regret killing the rabble that impede your investigation. They will be easily replaced.
Very well. I will speak with the Archon of War, then.
Your fellow Fatebinders have been busy acting as my eyes and ears. I have a few leads for you to follow. You should, of course, speak with your brothers and sisters of the court if you need
And I
further
imagine we'll be
counsel.
doing that in due course, because we're going to need all the help we can get if we have to investigate treachery in Kairos' armies.
The Scarlet Chorus leader in Plainsgate is set on taking the Disfavored's holdings with lethal force. Rumors of aggressive chorus posturing are commonplace, but if you are in the Stone Sea, it would be wise to investigate. The Oathbreakers were reported to be using iron armaments, more than they might acquire from looting what few Disfavored they killed. Any iron in the tiers not rusted through was made by forge-bound hands in Lethian's Crossing. Between craftsman and quartermaster, someone let iron fall into enemy hands. Investigate this matter and bring the thieves to justice. There is a final matter to discuss.
Though it's impossible to gauge from his expression, Tunon seems more wary than usual. What is it that concerns the court, Your Honor?
In spite of the many shortcomings at Vendrian's Well, you managed to make a name for yourself. You proclaimed an Edict of Kairos, resolved its demanding conditions, and ascended the mountain spire. Any one of these feats would be worthy of recognition by the highest authority. You managed to accomplish
So
three.
what were we doing? I am in a privileged position to accomplish incredible deeds. I don't know if we should say that or not. It seems like it's a rather arrogant view to take. But it's certainly not just another day. Let me see. Were we just doing our job, or are we in a privileged position? I was only doing my job, Your Honor.
Your sense of obligation to your role is admirable, but modesty will not recommend you to the task
I
ahead.
see. I'm not sure how to feel about that, honestly.
Whether by design or by accident, you have captured the attention of Kairos' army and the local tiersmen alike. This is no small opportunity, and the court charges you with exploiting your new standing to its fullest potential. You have a title in our hierarchy. However, it's a little-known secret that one's standing in the world is determined by their infamy, their deeds, and how they come to be known. Mind this notion as you bring justice to this lawless frontier. There may come a time when your deeds speak for you
So
louder than
basically,
any title.
that's the game's telling you about the relationship system, about how different factions feel about you in a sort of lore-friendly way. It's basically him saying how you behave towards different groups may reward you or come back to bite you in the ass in the future. To a degree.
If your killing spree in the bastard city is any indication, you are no stranger to
Tunon
spreading
nods
infamy
at
already.
us in approval.
Whatever you did to capture the attention of the masses at Vendrian's Well, I would encourage you to do so again.
Understood. Let's see. I do not wish I will be known as a champion of justice.
Good. It falls to us to set a new standard for
One of these southern
barbarians.
barbarians is standing right around us. Sorry about this, Eb. You know, have to be courteous towards the boss and all that. Otherwise, he may decide to disembowel me with a rusty spoon or something. Who knows with these people?
You are dismissed. Should the court have need of your presence, you will receive word. Go forth and do my bidding, and bring glory and honor to the
Tunon
tears
raps
in
his
Kairos'
gavel
name.
against the floor, the singular note resounding throughout the hall. And that gives us a new quest. We have 3 right now. Find a way to access the Lethian's Crossing Spire. And look into the Archons, as well as meeting Graven Ashe at Iron Hearth. Those are our current objectives, and we will do just that. But that is going to have to wait. First of all, I need to level up. And that's going to be what we give Ebb for those particular abilities. 4 talent points. Arcane Missile. I think she needs some other abilities. Let me see here. We will get Grave Strike. Enable Ebb to damage enemies and drain their health a bit. I'm also going to go for Mother's Embrace. Lets me drown people. And Taratus's Call. Crush damage to an enemy. But Barrack, what do we give you? Vitality is what I will go for. You have 1 point that we can spend in abilities. And I'm going to give you Fierce Demeanor to reduce the resolve of nearby enemies. Finally, Tiberius. We have 1 point that I can spend. There's defense, power, and agility. I am going to take Focus Strike. Adds armor penetration to the thrust ability and let's see, and increases its accuracy, because we're using abilities like that very often. So having it is going to be extremely handy. I also have an attribute point that needs to be spent. And we are going to increase Tiberius's vitality to 11 to give us some extra health. I'm going to assign Tiberius some healing magic. We can't assign anything with the Sigil of Force, but now he has the power to heal. that is going to be very handy. Now, though, I'm going to save the game, because this recording has been going on for a decent amount of time, and about half of it had no commentary because I was suffering from microphone problems. So, I'm going to end this recording session here. This has been DarkPhoenix Ninja 92, and you have been watching my Let's Play of Tyranny. I hope you'll join me next time, where we will be leading an investigation into the Archon of War and the Voices of Nehrat for essentially treachery and misconduct and incompetence. See you then, folks. See you then.